me see.
Okay, welcome everybody to Mars Venus Live, and I'm John Gray. And today we've got some questions, a fun question today. Rich was telling me. What was that, Rich?
What do you do if you suspect your husband is a narcissist?
Yeah, and I think we'll expand it even to how do you know if you're dating a narcissist or just a man? And that's my spin on it because so many times when women don't understand men, they just assume he's a quote narcissist. Now, if a man can never apologize, okay, that could be a direction towards a real narcissist. Uh, but so many times, what women will say, an unavailable man. Now, there is such a thing. There is such a thing as men who are not ready to get married. Okay, because a man has to feel good about himself. Generally, there's a time in his life where he's ready. If he's not ready, nothing you do can make him ready. There's something that happens inside of a man when he feels um, I can provide. Because ultimately, what a intimate relationship is, and we're talking about a committed intimate relationship if we're looking for that, men have to be ready. Now, it can be that a woman can motivate a man when he's sort of on the edge, and how she interacts with him can certainly motivate him to be ready. I want to welcome everybody coming in and let us know you're here. I like to see the notes. If you have questions, you can put your questions
I love
in
seeing
the
where they're from
comments.
too.
Yeah, we like to see where everybody's from. That's fun. Uh, it creates a kind of a sense of community that we're all together connecting with these ideas. And whether it's these ideas or any ideas, if you have people of like mind, it's very comforting and supportive. The problem is, now I'm going to drift off for a moment, which I'll say about our narcissistic culture, not just men. The problem is our identity. We identify with being all these subgroups. If you identify as being a victim, that's not helpful. If you identify with being masculine, that's helpful. If I identify with being feminine, that's helpful because that's biology. I mean, if you're going to identify, I am, I certainly am a spiritual being. As a spiritual being, also, I have a male side and a female side. But my identity has to be grounded. If you don't have a grounded identity that I am a man or I am a woman, my biology, which is in harmony with my biology, you'll always have a fragile self esteem which demands affirmation from others as to who you are. Uh, as if that's going to help us. It's like eating white sugar or something. It gives you a little burst of what I need, but it's not what you really need. What we all really need is an authentic identity, knowing who we are. And, there's stages of who we are, self realization. But the first stage of self realization occurs at puberty, where boys get 20 times more testosterone and girls suddenly start having their period with lots of estrogen. That is now entering in the adult worlds, beginning the stage of self realization. Who am I separate from my parents and my family, but connected to my parents and my family? So, this is what's missing today. This started 50 years ago, maybe even 100 years ago, where we started neutralizing any aspect that men and women were different. And then it really accelerated after World War II with women in the factories to help the war machine. Then women became more independent, and of course, lots of men died. So you had a lot of girls growing up without fathers. And when girls grow up without fathers who are supportive to their mothers, who were depending on those men, and those men were providing for their wives, if you don't experience as a female that how amazing men are and what they can provide. They cannot provide what a woman provides, but they can provide what a man provides, and how amazing and supportive that is. But you don't know what you just don't know. And then you come across a man as an adult woman, and you think you think this is a narcissist because he cares about himself first. Men have to care about themselves first because they're always doing dangerous things. Throughout history, men have, as a gift to women, have done the dirty, dangerous, difficult jobs. So you have to be thinking about yourself and your own survival and your own security so you can then protect your family, your children, and so forth. But you can't protect anybody unless you can first provide for yourself. And that's what I was kind of mentioning at the beginning, which is a man is ready, when he can take care of himself. And there's a signal that goes off, basically, another biological signal, which is when he can sustain testosterone through his actions, not taking testosterone, but sustaining testosterone through his behaviors, through his work, particularly, through how he contributes to society. When he can sustain himself and not be dependent on anybody, now he's ready to be dependent on somebody, and which is, relationship. This is where men partnership with women, where I give you something and you give me something. I depend on you for that. You depend on me for what I can give. And so when you see men being often thinking men are narcissists, it's just a healthy man who takes care of himself first. What women don't understand about men is men have changed dramatically. And this is because historically, all the training that goes into being a man is about making money, making your skills, being a hunter, fisher, providing something of meaningfulness to your wife and your family. That's what it was about. It's not about me. It's about me so I can be there for you. So I have some value, some contribution to a woman. And what God put in us as men is a very strong sex drive when we're younger. It wanes if we age and our testosterone levels begin to drop. But ideally, your testosterone levels can continue to be up. I'm in my 70s, and this is now my 74th year. And my testosterone is high, 50% higher than when I was a young man. I have the same drive. I have the same energy, more, actually, much more. And resilience is dramatically off the chart. This is what hormonal balance gives you, is resilience, so things can't upset you. Even big things come, and of course they'll upset you a little. You can't grow unless you get upset by something and you recover from it. You can't grow unless you make a mistake, get upset, and let go of the upset. Now, your narcissist man, he'll make a mistake, and it's always somebody else's fault. So who's the narcissist on this planet? Is it just men? No, it's women too. Whatever happens to a woman, it's always somebody else's fault. And that's because women are more emotional. Now, why are women more emotional? Not that men can't be more emotional, because men can go to their female side. Keep that in mind. I'm talking generally when you're in hormone balance and stress comes. We look at the biology of a woman under moderate stress. She has 3 times more emotion than a man would, and men tend to decrease emotion under moderate stress. This is all proven now biologically. We're different. And emotions are always, why do you become upset or why do you become happy? It's because I got what I wanted or I didn't get what I wanted. It's all about me. Okay, so, women go, men are about me. Women are about me too, and not in a bad way. We're designed to be this way. Women have to think about me so they can give birth to little babies and they can grow a family and they can create a life. We're all centered around ourselves first, and that's our childish side. This is our fundamental side, basically, and this starts in your teenage years. This is why we're really declining as a society. Because we've lost our identity of our sexuality. Males are males, females are females. That's our identity. And that's a whole period of time where you're disconnecting from family consciousness, moving into me consciousness. That's adolescent. And when we look at the hormones of moderate stress, women having 3 times more emotion, well, if you're happy, why are you happy? It's because I got what I want. If you're unhappy, why are you unhappy? I didn't get what I want. You interfered from me getting what I want. You're supposed to give me what I want. So now I'm angry. Now I don't have what I want. I lost what I want. I lost what I'm attached to. I miss it. I feel sad. This is beautiful. This is part of life, if you know how to process emotions. For me, I can settle down a little bit into my heart and I can think about how much I miss my wife, Bonnie, after she died. I miss her a lot, and sometimes I miss her more than others, particularly if I'm not engaged in interacting with other people and I'm all by myself. I feel a little lonely. I feel sad. I feel a little pain in my heart, and I say, okay, why am I feeling this? Because I miss my wife. I'm attached to her. I miss my wife, and that's painful. People don't want to feel that. But here's the gift of pain. If you know how to process your emotions, is I just simply have to ask myself, okay, well, why is it so painful? I miss my wife. Why do I miss my wife? You have to do a little exploration. This is all about develop self-awareness, self-consciousness, enlightenment of who am I? What's inside of me? What do I feel? What do I think? Why do I feel that way? Why do I think that? So I say to myself, well, why do I miss my wife? Because I love her. And the answer to that question opens my heart 100%. Opens my heart more than when she was alive, because we all tend to take what we have for granted. This is another problem to overcome, which is something that happens in the brain, which is called habituation. When something is repeated over and over and over, we habituate, which means it no longer stimulates dopamine. The dopamine is excitement and thrill and so forth, but when you repeat something over and over, it's no longer so exciting. It's expected. We habituate, and women habituate, men habituate, and we take each other for granted. And when men are married to their wives, they take them for granted. Women take men for granted. Well, he should do that. Well, he certainly should do that. I do this for him. And men, the way they take for granted is they just stop feeling all of that motivation and energy to do more for you. We say, well, I've sort of done my job. I don't have to do more. And we become what we could call lazy, and we need to be activated. Now, here's another biological difference between men and women. These are fun. These are all in my new book, which is Be Happy With or Without a Man. It's primarily focused for women. It's a women-only book. Be happy with or without a man. And in there, I'm educating women on why most men are not narcissists. But if you just observed a man without having the experience of how amazing a father can be for you as a little girl growing up, and you have no experience of men being very, very supportive of you in your life, but particularly your childhood life, because there you're getting a man who is habituated to family life. If you just say, oh, the guys at work or the men I meet at the office, they're like this. Why my husband's not that way? Because your husband's habituated to you. and you're over there habituating with this idea that, well, he should do these things, as opposed to you ask him to do things. See, this is the whole dynamic between men and women, which is women are more emotional. Emotions behind emotions is I need more. Okay, that's why you have emotions. Why I feel sad. I'm missing my wife. Why? Because I love her. There's that emotion behind that. I love her, and I need her love. Okay, so there's a behind emotions is need. If I'm getting what I need or getting what I want and need go hand in hand. It's literally if you set a goal, then you have certain needs to get to your goal. Or if you're feeling a need, then you have to have you seek out something, you want something to happen in order to fulfill your needs. So they go back and forth. But the bottom line of more so our female side is our needs, being aware of what do I need, and then wanting. So if you're needing sugar, for example, then you want to eat bad food. So this is what happens in the biology, is then you want to eat sweets all the time. When I say that, I don't want to exempt myself from it. I had some ice cream yesterday. It's a treat. I enjoy it, and I just watch my belly. Is when my belly gets big, then I say, okay, back off from all of the processed foods. I want to stay in shape. I want to stay healthy. And then when I'm healthy, it's like once you have a white suit, I splatter some dirt on it. But it's it's a joy that I have, and sometimes I've gone through many periods of my life where I've had no sugar and nothing, and then I come back to occasionally wanting it. It's a little comfort food, and we all deserve that as long as we can keep it in moderation, and then we can, uh, I do occasional fasting to help cleanse my body from toxicity. So we do our best. Okay, so I don't want to act like I've got it all perfect. I don't believe in perfection. I believe in becoming better and better and better. If and I also enjoy my life more. So coming back to this idea of men being narcissists, uh, a narcissist is often seen as somebody who's selfish, who's always blaming other people. They're not able to, and they can't. They can't. They hold strong. No matter what, I did what was right. I did what was right. The reason you can think a man is a narcissist when he's not is because every man, if you attack him, blame him, criticize him, he will have an explanation. Okay, he will explain himself. He will defend himself. We have a biology that is much more designed to defend off the enemy than women. Women have a biology that's much more designed to feel like a victim and imply blame. Okay, I feel, so hurt. I feel so bad. I feel disappointed. Okay, that's the victim side of us. So we both have it. It's just that men discount the emotions because under moderate stress, let's just look at it again. It's biology. You can look at under moderate stress, a man will disconnect from emotions. Under high increasing stress, now if it's increasing stress, that's not increasing stress is like holding on. Okay, adrenaline is the moderate stress, and increasing cortisol. Okay, producing cortisol is increasing stress. Okay, you can't seem to be, you're losing your confidence basically. You haven't fully lost it, but you're losing confidence. You're still trying. That's the hormone cortisol. And when men have cortisol, then they do produce more emotion. You can see anytime a man is producing cortisol, his estrogen emotions are going up. But generally speaking, if he's not stressed, he'll have very moderate levels of emotion. And if he becomes, adrenaline gets released, a little danger, but I'm very confident I can handle this. This is competition. This is driving my car. This is standing in front of an audience. Adrenaline is very important. This is big part of life. It shouldn't be all the time, but because it uses up your testosterone. It makes testosterone. It gives you peak performance for a man, but then it will use up your testosterone. Okay, so you've got to recover afterwards. So when I'm working, I'm producing adrenaline up and down, up and down. I'll need cave time. Depending on how much adrenaline I produce, the more cave time I'll need. This is about men. So when they have their cave time, they're disconnected from their emotions completely because you can't rebuild testosterone if you're feeling emotions. If you're feeling particularly negative emotions, frustration, disappointment, anger, fear, anxiety, any of those things is estrogen. They're all estrogen stimulating. You need, as a man, if you want to build testosterone, and this is biology, you disconnect from your emotions. This is automatic. This happens in his brain. It's not narcissism. And because a narcissist, man or woman, but if it's a man narcissist, he also has the same brain. It functions differently, but he will also have similar tendencies of what a regular man will have. So, maybe you dated a guy, they do exist, they're real narcissist, and he would go to his cave and he would disconnect emotionally completely. Except these men will typically be disconnected all the time. Okay, all the time. They're just steady as you go. I tend to want to look at some politicians because there's so much on TV all the time, but I'm not going to address them. But you can see who has passion, who has motivation, and some men just have none. Okay, so it doesn't mean they're narcissists either. It's just that when men are experiencing adrenaline, they will experience a detachment from negative emotions. Just to keep that in mind. So will a psychopath. So will a narcissist. So what qualifies a narcissist is he doesn't have the ability to empathize with your feelings when he's out of the cave. He kind of lives in the cave. It's all for him. But men need to be all for them until they have something to provide for a woman. But part of the daily activity for a man is all for him to produce the results so he can now bring this to his wife. But if he's an adrenaline most of the time, then he's going to need time to detach. And when he detaches, it doesn't mean he's mad at you. That was one of the big ahas of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And now we have this whole thing about caves. Every man has his cave. But the beginning of that, Men Are From Mars, was women also saying, wow, this is such a great realization. I realized that when my husband is ignoring me, doesn't want to spend time with me, it's not personal. I've convinced my wife of this finally, so that on phone calls, when I'm talking to, she travels to China quite a bit, and on phone calls, I say, after 10 minutes, I just get a headache, honey. So one time I'm talking to her, and we're having our conversation, and I start teaching, getting very intellectual about something, my ideas and whatever, and she wants to connect emotionally, and she says, I'm getting such a headache listening to you. Then she felt compassion. She realized, oh, this is what happens to you when I want to talk too long on the phone. So now now that she has a glimpse of my experience, she's very compassionate. So if we can have a glimpse of somebody's experience, it allows us to be more accepting and understanding and supportive of them. It's just that in many, many ways, men don't have the experience of women, and women just don't have the experience of men. So we have our Mars Venus coaches, we have our Mars Venus books, we have all this stuff to create an understanding of how men and women are different. That can help us. It's not that you make everything perfect, of course, but life experience using these tools that we suggest um, can be very helpful for us to connect with each other. Because ultimately, we want to connect the yin and the yang. We want to connect the opposite forces and bring them into balance. So, like, we want to connect the left hemisphere and the right hemispheres of the brain, and want to connect it together to become whole. Now, this wholeness is something that women are born more with than men. So women have nine times more white matter in their brain, which connects all the different parts of the brain. And when we say different parts of the brain, we're going to say isolated areas, little areas of function. Those areas of function are called gray matter. And men have 7 times more gray matter than women. But that's because we don't connect them all together. So women have this born-in wholeness, and that was first discovered when they found that women typically have more connective tissue between the left brain and the right brain. Then it was discovered they have 9 times more connective tissue than men, just connecting everything together. So they don't need so much isolated gray matter here, gray matter here, gray matter here. And you'll see this demonstrated in life, whereas men tend to become hyper-focused on developing one thing, whereas women with so many hats, okay, they think in so much bigger, expanding. They have this interest and that interest. They use this. They become part of this. They become that. A man can become hyper focused on one thing and be very fulfilled. That was something Bonnie used to complain about. She says, John, you're just really focused on your work and me and the family. You don't really have recreation. You don't really have that. I said, yeah, I do. I have my friends. And well, how many friends do you have? I said, well, I have my best friend and 2 best friends. And that's typical for a man. And you kind of go, well, a woman would think, well, that's not enough because she needs many. But it's enough for men. Men typically have 1 or 2 best friends. That's it. And it's not because, I'm antisocial. It's I don't need more. And some men will need more. Some men are more extroverted. They have more. But you really need to have a couple of really good friends. And then I've got my next best friends, which is my men's group, which is 9 guys. That's all good as well. But I'm really focused on my meditation and which is a big part of my life, health, research. I'm a researcher and I'm a meditator. Even that's research into higher states of consciousness. But she felt like, because she wasn't into all that, I should be into other things. So she would draw me out into those things, and that was good. And that's the idea of, on a very primary level, that is the role of a woman in a man's life. She draws him out. One way of looking at it is she nags him to do more. Okay. But that's the old way. That doesn't work today. It's not emotionally fulfilling for a man to have a woman nagging him. It used to be emotional fulfillment was not on a man's list of priorities. Survival, security, and sex were on the list of man's priorities. Emotional fulfillment, feeling loved, feeling valued, feeling appreciated, not such a big deal for a man. And ultimately, not such a big deal for a woman either. If you had a husband who could provide for you, who did his job, basically, he made money or he protected you, he had the skills, he developed his skills, he protected you in the world, he provided security, would do traditional male things. That was it. A woman felt loved and supported. And, as a result of her feeling loved and supported, her hormones would go into balance. She'd be raising children. Unless if she wasn't raising children, her hormones wouldn't be in balance. You need to be raising. If you're not out there working the job, raising children is the biggest job there is. It's a huge job. It's a testosterone producer to balance the huge amounts of estrogen you get when a man supports you. If a man's not supporting you, you're not getting this huge extra estrogen stimulation of being receptive to help, that I'm not alone, that I've helped to do it. And then what happens if you're not having help to do it? You're still being a mother. Your brain's designed to be a mother, which is a major testosterone producer. It's the CEO of the house, and a very expanded state. This is why women need masculinity, help ground them, and men need women to help draw us out of our cave, so to speak. I'm remembering as I'm talking here. I'm remembering in my studies in India, there's one of the big god figures is Shiva, and Shiva is like the meditator. There are three major god figures. There's Brahma, there's Vishnu, and there's Shiva. Brahma is always wearing gold and diamonds, and he's all about abundance. And then there's Brahma, which is about creativity, music, art, and all those things. These are three basic tendencies of music, art, creativity. The next one is Vishnu, which is glorious, beautiful, gold, women. Everything is fantastic in his life. And then there's Shiva. He's the ascetic, and he'll sit in meditation, and he can meditate for hundreds of years. But they all married. That's what's different about India religious spirituality. They always have a female godhead as well as a male, whereas the Christian religion sort of leaves the woman out, and therefore the Christian culture, which I am a Christian, I think it's fantastic. I love Christ. I love Jesus. The whole thing brings me back to my childhood. It's very connected for me. But the Christian religion moved into the direction of Godhead source is only a male. Okay, that was the Christian religion. Although if you look in France, which supposedly Jesus was married to, you could say, is Mary, his mother, and then there's Mary, his wife, according to some systems. One of those two, I forget which, went to France and lived in France. And so in France, they do have a different sort of attitude about divinity, relationship. It's always been used to be the culture of romance, the making love and all of that, whereas Christianity was more prudish when it comes to sex. But there was a very evolutionary factor in that, which is the prudishness was just commitment, monogamy. That was really what it was about. It wasn't about, but it turned into, with the Catholic Church and so much with monks and celibacy and everything. And these are just just so you know, the whole idea of monks was pretty much gay men. Some men are born gay, and you can also be turned. By the way, very easy to be turned. A lot of gay men think every man's gay, and they're going to come turn you. But you can be turned, and gay sex is massively addictive, and so and much easier to find than women. Anything stimulating your sex organs feels good, but some people are actually born gay, and when you're born gay, culture used to make you a shaman in the southern hemisphere. In India, you would become a yogi. In Christianity, you become a monk. But what the Indian tradition was that every male should be celibate until about 28 years old. That's because that's when the prefrontal cortex of the brain develops, and the whole thing is about learning about yourself, self-realization. And once you have self-realization, then you're ready for partnership with a woman, ready for making love without losing yourself. Because this is why men pull back so much after sex, is that you become one with her, you become one with your female side, and you lose your male side temporarily. Your erection goes away, you pull away, you go to your cave basically to rebuild your testosterone. I was very fortunate in my life to have that inspiration so that I could, although I did have sex as a teenager, a really fun time, but I did have 9 years of pure celibacy. And you know what they would say, both in China, in the ancient Taoist tradition, as well as in the uh, Hindu tradition in India, is that celibacy makes your brain work better, allows you to experience higher states of consciousness. It literally, the semen energy, which is necessary to create a baby, recreates your body. Very important for males. So males, if we look at our brain, we see that men need connection. Okay. So we don't have as much connection, so symbolically we actually have less connective tissue in our brain. We need women to feel connection. We need women. We connect with her. So by becoming one with her, but also being anchored in myself as a man, which means high testosterone. So if I have high testosterone and I connect with a woman, which raises my estrogen, extra little insight I found in the research, which was actually for a man to have an erection, his testosterone has to go high and his estrogen has to go high as well. That without estrogen, he doesn't get an erection. Um, so there's two reasons why a man could not get an erection. One, he just has low testosterone, but another one is he has healthy testosterone, uh, or he has high testosterone, but he has no estrogen. So that's another reason men don't get erections, is they have no estrogen, and that can be blocks with the mother. A mother who's smothering him and whatever, he just can't connect with the female. Okay, so we went off a little bit. I said I was gonna. We only have an hour to talk, so I'm not going to just do a whole hour talk, but I want to address questions. So the basic.
John, I do have from last week. We finished up saying that this week we were going to discuss how to keep passion alive long term in a marriage, so we don't go looking outside of it, and how that differs between men and women. That's how we ended last week.
Yeah, well, actually, it's the same hormone. There's a hormone called prolactin, and what allows us to stay connected to our partner is two factors. One without the other won't work. So the first one is when you make a commitment and make love with your partner. So this is romantic relationships, right? Keeping the passion alive. So sex is a big part of that. So sexual attraction, passion, interest, motivation, all that. Now, the first thing is if you're in a committed relationship, when you make love, you make 400% more prolactin than if you make love with a stranger or with yourself or with a new partner that you don't really know, that you're not committed to. The key thing is that when you make a commitment, that means you're sold on somebody. You're prioritizing them. See, that's a whole emotional expression. One of my clients just discovered his wife is pregnant. Total change in his whole life. Kabam. He grew up in that moment. I'm completely changed, everything, and it will change. Is that when a man has a child, then you a higher level of commitment. The first level of commitment is falling in love, and then you commit to a woman. The next one is you have a child. That really helps a man grow up, which is okay. You have to show up. Here's this little person who, and by the way, having your own child is one of the most powerful things to awaken a man's mirror neurons, which allows him to feel what other people feel, which raises his consciousness to where he can experience the enlightenment of compassion. Compassion is the most selfless place for a man. And that compassionate state awakens primarily when you have children. Prior to that, your heart opens when you fall in love with a woman. And you fall in love more if you have it anchored into your masculine qualities. Okay, so forgot the question. What was it, Rich? Oh, how to keep the passion alive. So when you're in a committed relationship, it turns out, I mean, I'm not, all I'm saying is the research shows that people who are in committed relationships, they're married, that they produce this hormone 400% more than otherwise when you make love. And that hormone's called prolactin. Now, prolactin functions from being an inhibitor on dopamine production. Now, when you buy a car which has tremendous horsepower in America, to sell it in America, they have to put an inhibitor on it so it can't go so fast. And then you take the inhibitor off. But they have to have this block. Okay, so what prolactin does is it inhibits your brain from going to high levels of dopamine. All right, so it's a simple thing. All addiction is you experience something with high dopamine, and then you have to have more. Okay, it's like you eat a potato chip. Now you have to have more because it causes a blood sugar spike. Eat sugar, and then you feel good, and then you don't feel good, do you? You want to eat more, and then you don't feel good, and you want to have more. That's called addiction. And that's because you ate something that gave your brain a big dose of dopamine. Well, what prolactin does is inhibits the brain from going to a big dose of dopamine. And if you can, over time, when you have a steady level of dopamine, what happens is you don't have that high, but you don't have that low. So the low, you have a high, to understand the way the brain works. The high is dopamine gets released, and it goes in these little receptor sites in the brain, and you feel really good. But when you feel really good, those receptor sites say that's too much. So they'll close down, and that's when you go, oh, I don't feel so good. I have to have another cookie. I want another Oreo. Okay, so I gotta have another one. You gotta have another one, because after you had it, it's a quick burst, but it's not satisfying after that. Well, and that's because the receptor sites will close, and then you need more dopamine when they close, and this is serious addiction. Okay, so what prolactin does is prevents you from having that tendency of going too high, so then you have to go higher and higher and higher. And that's what all stray. That's when you become bored with your partner, you habituated to your partner. Habituation is you're not making high levels of dopamine with your partner. But if you don't have prolactin, you can look at another woman and go, oh, I want her. Or a woman could be with a man who's treating her with politeness and kindness and interested in her, and she'll feel tempted to have sex with him. And or a man is helping her and she feels supported. That gives her a surge of estrogen that increases their dopamine, and she goes, I want him. Okay, and she cheats on her husband, or a man, he cheats on his wife. Or you don't cheat because you have values, which was Christian values, said don't cheat, stay monogamous. That will allow you to have and by the way, people think monogamy is in the Bible. It's not. The Bible, if you look at the Old Testament, the Ten Commandments, it just says don't steal another man's wife. It doesn't say you can't have lots of girlfriends or wives. It just says thou shalt not covet another man's wife. Okay, because they saw women as property then. So you're stealing property if you take somebody's wife, but you can have as many as you want if you're single. If they're single, there wasn't any big deal about that in the Old Testament. Uh, Personally, from my side, I don't read the Old Testament. I looked at it; it's crazy. I think only the New Testament. That's my thinking, and that was what Jesus came along to say. Hey, that stuff is old stuff. You know, talk to God direct. You know, don't use all the priests. Don't do the sacrifices. Don't do all that crazy stuff. But practice love, and you don't need so many rules in your life. He said, when your heart is open, God's law is written in your heart. That's what's happening here. This is what's going on in our society. We've outgrown these old rules and sacrifices and punishment and all that Old Testament bullshit. Excuse me, I got a little upset about that. I feel like the money changers. I hope we're moving in the direction of no taxes. Taxes is evil, as well as high interest rates. They want to lower the interest rates and basically ultimately take away interest rates. This is what Jesus was all about. It's a sin to make money off of poor people. It's a sin. But at the same time, we have to evolve. I think the capitalist system is great. It just gets too far that way. To help start a business, you can borrow money. And you want to, if you borrow money, that person should get a share of your success. That makes sense. It can be paid in interest rates, but these interest rates today is insane. It should be very, very moderate. That would help our culture so much. Anyway, off of that, but usury was the big sin, according to Jesus, is making money off of other people, poor people. All right. So off of that, where I was in that journey of answering. Which question was I answering, Rich? Oh yeah, how to keep the passion. So here it is. It's hard when I don't have an audience in front of me to keep anchored here, but I'm working with you. So this is prolactin. So prolactin could be also keep you from having any sex drive, because it causes you to habituate to your partner, prevents high dopamine stimulation. So that makes life more content. That's called contentment. Couples go into a place of feeling satisfied, feeling content, but their sex drive stops. And that also helps you not cheat on your partner. But it's not what I want. It's not what people today want. People want to feel aliveness. They want to feel passion. And how do you feel that passion if you've got prolactin? You have to have what God gave us in the past. We just have to adjust to it, which is activities that raise testosterone in men and activities that raise estrogen in women. We've thrown that out. Okay, it used to be that women make the home, men make the outside the home, men do the dangerous stuff, women do the safe stuff, the nurturing stuff. Those two worlds produce estrogen in women, testosterone in men, and when men's testosterone estrogen is up and women's estrogen is up, what do you get? You get polarity. And that polarity creates magnetic attraction. And that's where the passion comes, is that men feel needed. Where's my passion coming from right now? It's not a sexual passion. It's a passion because I'm sharing something that I know is needed by people. You're all, coming to hear me talk. You're appreciating what I have to say. It's helpful to you. Every man just wants to be helpful. So my passion becomes my testosterone goes really up. That means offering help is testosterone, and there's people to receive help. That's estrogen. So there's this polarity of testosterone and estrogen, the polarity of giving and receiving. And that polarity in a marriage, if you want passion to last, the man, remember, he's the man. He has the biology, which is dependent upon testosterone, and she's the woman. And her biology is dependent upon estrogen. So if she's identified correctly with who she is, supporting who she is, and he's supporting who he is, then there'll be a polarity and you'll have lasting sex. You'll have lasting passion. You'll have lasting love. And you also have prolactin that allows you to feel like I've got all I need. I don't need anything other than what I've got. The best way I can explain that is, I remember when I was a younger guy, I was lusting, horny for finding the home for me. I wanted to find a home for me. And I looked for 3 years when I could afford more than I wanted the ideal home for me. I wanted a view of Mount Tam. I wanted privacy. I wanted a private road because in Mill Valley it's dangerous driving around on these hills, but I wanted to be high up on top of a hill. That was what I wanted. And I looked for 3 years until I found the place. It was the right place. And it was so amazing. What happened is it wasn't on the market. I knocked on the door and they said yes. But it wasn't on the market for various reasons. Anyway, so I was led to that, but it took me defining clarity of what I want. No, I don't want this. No, I don't want this. No, I don't want this, but I like this, and I like this, and I like this. It defined in my consciousness exactly what I wanted. So that then when I was looking, I saw this house and I said, that's just what I want. It's the right location. It looks just like what I want. It wasn't exactly everything. I didn't know every detail I wanted, but when I went in, fell on the floor. I said, "This is fantastic." I like to have space. It's a lot high ceilings and beautiful views, and that's who I am. And it was like right there. It was amazing, and it was off the market, so I could buy it. I got a great deal. It was like, but I earned it. I took the time to clearly look at what I want and had hope and faith. I'll find it, and I go and I had to feel abundant that I could afford. I got to the limit of what I could afford, and it all manifested. So I little got off the subject on manifesting. We have to have clarity, and in relationships, you get clarity. If you've been in a relationship and you were disappointed and frustrated and didn't end well, go back and review that relationship and recognize how you were a part of the problem so that you can forgive the other person. You picked the wrong person, but you picked the right person in order to learn an important lesson. And what is that lesson? It's like, okay, what are the mistakes you make in relationships? What do you deserve in relationships? When you get angry with somebody, look at what's behind it. Is, okay, what is it I want? You gain greater clarity of what I don't like. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. That helps you become more defined within yourself of what you do like. And then when you feel like what you do like, go a little bit under that. You feel your desire for that, if you have desire for that. Then underneath desire is an awareness of I deserve that. And when you have a feeling of I deserve that, you know that you feel I deserve something, not as opposed to just I getting mad about it, because underneath anger is I feel I deserve more. But you're not anchored in that knowing that you truly deserve more if you feel any jealousy. So there's jealousy. Jealousy is somebody's got what I want and I'm mad about it. And why am I mad about it? Because a part of me is afraid I won't get it. And the only reason I'm afraid I won't get it is a part of me deeper down feels, well, then I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. So this is why all of our negative emotions, when you explore them and go deep into them, you'll find the gold mine, okay? Because once you're there, you find out what you're afraid of, then you can process that fear. But you can't even let go of something until you can first feel it. And the good news, I'm getting closer now to having the app ready, which will help you when you're upset about something, stressed about something. It guides you back to helps you with an awareness of what you possibly could be feeling underneath those emotions. It's not always exactly right, but it leads you in the direction. And if it was not exactly right, you'll feel like, no, that's not it. And your awareness of, well, what is it, will become clearer. So this is where the app using AI is very, very helpful following my protocol. And the protocol is the feeling letter exercise, the response letter, the gratitude letter, the affirmations, and there's an analysis where it analyzes the words you use in terms of how stress is hijacking your brain. I put in 12 basic ways, which are pretty common ways. One simple one is what I talk about in Minute from Mars is making a big deal out of nothing, making mountains out of molehills. Everybody does it. And that's just simply a stress reaction. You have no control over that unless you have more greater awareness that I'm doing that. When you realize I'm making a mistake, then you can let go of it and go to the right direction. Connecting with divine energy is the recognition of darkness. Okay, when you recognize darkness, who's recognizing darkness but light? To recognize darkness, you have to have light. To know I made a mistake, I have to connect with that knowing, which is higher than where I was before. And this is what's happening in the world today. What we're seeing is it looks like the world is so corrupt. It's just so evil. It's so awful. Can you believe this terrible stuff? What's always been going on? I mean, you go back to one of the kings in Europe, you know, you were just peons, you know. If you if you're one of my serfs and I'm a king and you marry a pretty girl, I'm the one who gets to have sex with her first, not you. I get to make the baby. I get to spread my genes everywhere. You know, this is complete horrible things. You know, you couldn't own property. Yeah, you couldn't give it to your children. Your children were slaves too. You know, the people today talking about the slavery in America, it's actually the white people who eliminated slavery. We were buying slaves. Their slavery was everywhere. Slavery's in the Bible. Slavery's in India. Slavery's in China. Still is there. Slavery is everywhere. And to a certain extent, we're all still slaves to the government. You can't own property. It was a Constitution says everyone has the right to own property. That was the idea. We're going to cast off the evil and come back to, you know, I'm a free being. I'm a free being. I want freedom. Well, in the Constitution is you can free to own property. I don't own this house. I own this house completely, except if I don't pay huge property taxes twice a year, the government can take it back. So I don't really own it. You know, this is we have to kind of wake up. But see, all this waking up stuff, we've been convinced that we're free. We're not free at all. We're still slaves in so many different ways. But I think, you know, we manifest what we are inside. As long as you're a slave to negative thinking, as long as you're a slave to your stress reactions, as long as you're a slave to anger, to lack of forgiveness, to lack of faith that your life is growing, faith that this universe is here for you, and it's always teaching you lessons, and that you'll get through things. You know, when we don't have the freedom from the clouds of negativity that emerge from time to time inside of all of us, me exempt, I'm not exempt either. As long as you're walking on this planet and gravity's affecting you, you've got stuff. And if that life gets good, it pops up again, and it pops up not because it's just going over the same thing, it's going over the same stuff, but in a more conscious way, and in a more conscious way, and in a more conscious way. And that's where regular processing your emotions will do. And you know, me doing this for 40 years, I have stuff coming up, but it's so sweet to do because I'm so good at it. It's like super fluid. It's like I can just say right now, I miss my wife, you know, and just take a moment to connect. And then I can feel sad. And I can say, why am I sad? And I can say, because I love her. And my heart just blossoms, you know, just expands out. Now, of course, see, men, I come back to this point of why men appear to be narcissists, is that we are absorbed in being able to take care of ourselves first. But then through caring for a woman, we connect with her, sex as well. You know, if we can care for her, women used to say, no sex unless you care for me. Then first he has to fulfill the requirement of I'm making testosterone and rising above myself to want to do things for you. Then you as a woman open up and he connects with you and he experiences all this surge of estrogen. That's what an orgasm is for a man. It's his estrogen goes so high, it's like so much energy flows into his body and then he short circuits because he can't handle all that energy. Gosh, I was just talking to one of my friends, and he's so amazing. He's also a very balanced male-female guy. He's a doctor, and we were sharing, and he says, yeah, you know, with my wife, I go for 3 hours. I said, me too. I don't do it all the time like that, but yes. Why is that? Is because we've worked on ourselves. You know, he's a young 60-year-old guy, I'm in my 70s, but we have the channels open for the energy to flow through, where we can maintain our testosterone in the face of that much estrogen, because estrogen will overwhelm the testosterone and then he releases and his energy goes back down. But then you get to the point as you get older and you have higher self-esteem and more grounded in who you are, you don't even need to release your energy. And of course, that's what's often referred to as tantric sex. It's just a system in India, Tantra. There's also Taoist sex. It's a system in China. All of the high consciousness men would practice this because they could. You can't really practice it unless you're like healthy testosterone levels as a man. You just become overwhelmed by feeling that much love because you just go into states of ecstasy and love. It's another form of meditation. You can practice meditation too. So anyway, how do you keep the passion alive in your relationship? Uh, you have the prolactin through commitment that keeps you from uh, having extreme ups and downs or feeling I have to have somebody more than my partner. But you'll be bored in your marriage relationship unless you have polarity. And it's our Mars Venus techniques. And in the new book, the three major techniques for polarity is if you're feeling stressed and you're upset about your husband, you practice the feeling letter process with the app, makes it easier. Number two is you, if you can look at your gradually as you more connected with your emotions and you're a woman, then you can start to realize that there's other things in your life other than your husband that upset you. And then you go to him with Venus talks and you share emotions in 10 minutes. He doesn't listen to he doesn't have to say anything. That's all developed. It's a technique. You have to learn all the details of it. And the third is learning how to ask for help. These are all chosen states of vulnerability. And it's that vulnerability that raises your estrogen. And today I was just writing this section in this book on menopause. And, most women don't know that in menopause, you can still have all those symptoms of estradiol. So the estrogen has estrogen 2 is estradiol. That's what you have when you're young. And then when you go through menopause, you make estrone. And estrone inhibits all of your sexual functions to a great extent. I don't want to go into all those details, but all of the symptoms, almost all symptoms of aging for women are due to estrone and no longer making estradiol. You can make estradiol. All you have to do is have short bursts of stress, which are quickly released, that produces DHEA, and DHEA converts testosterone, which you still have, into estrogen 2, estradiol. And then you don't get all these side effects of no estradiol. Wrinkles on your face is just a symptom of no estradiol in your body. It's just biology. If you have estradiol, you don't get wrinkles on your face. It's the best skincare product there is, which is learning how to make estradiol. And even when you're before menopause, you're not making enough estradiol. That's why we do processing your emotions. The most powerful thing to produce estradiol is to make more DHEA. DHEA will get produced if you have it's called acute stress. Acute stress is moments of vulnerability where you're sort of out there and support comes in. So when you're processing negative emotions, always with negative emotions, you'll be producing short-term stress to your body, which is immediately relieved by feeling heard and supported. All these, and then choosing acts of vulnerability. Again, and women today on their male side, they have such low vulnerability. It's vulnerability, bursts of vulnerability that will produce DHEA and raise your estrogen and then produce hormonal balance. This is all like revelations. People just don't know this stuff. It's so amazing the power of these four basic techniques I teach in this new book, which is all for women only. It's understanding your biology, how you use relationships, or if you're not in a relationship, how you use these processes in your friendships in order to maintain hormonal balance both prior to and after menopause. It's a gift. It's wonderful. I'm thrilled to be writing. I've now rewritten it 4 times, taking out sections because it gets so big. I'm trying to keep it under 300 pages. If I didn't take stuff out, at this point it'd be 500 pages. And then there's 1,000 pages for the other books that I've written. So it's a big year of writing for me, but I'm going slow with it. I had a big goal to write 10 books this year. And then I've got the ideas for 10 books. They're all scattered out on my computer in different files. But really honing this one book is just magnificent. It's just a fantastic book for our modern time of helping us biologically understand why we need to make changes. Because women, when you're more independent, you're going to have all kinds of trouble in your life in terms of your health and happiness and relationships and so forth. But you have the power within yourself to balance your hormones and then attract the right man in your life, or to waken up the right man in your life to becoming who he was in the beginning. Because as women make these changes inside themselves, it affects men. The more vulnerable you are, the more testosterone goes up in a man. The more he's able to preserve his testosterone. and you can learn to ask him to do things. You don't have to nag, you don't have to complain, you have to do all these old things to try to get your husband to change. No, you change. The whole thing is shifting the dynamic. Stop trying to change a man and learn how to change your approach to that man. So that's the question. That's how you keep the passion alive in a relationship. So we got to answer that. We also had, is he a narcissist? Mostly not. It's just that he's different from you. You don't understand. And because you don't understand, you mistrust him. And when you mistrust him, it pushes him into the cave. The most important loving message you can give to a man is, I can depend on you. I trust you. And when you don't feel that, so if a man gets angry, he'll go to his cave. Men can come out of that in an hour. They can come out in a day. But for women, if they get that angry, it could be months. It could be a lifetime. They ruminate. It doesn't go away so easy. So she misinterprets a man's cave time, thinking that, oh, he's holding it inside. He's suppressing it all. And in most cases, he's not. There are exceptions because men today are more on their female side. So when he's more on his female side, he too, like a woman, can ruminate. But you can change that by using the, Venus talks will always help a man come back to his male side. Anyway, so those are our ideas for today.
Very good. Very good.
Any good comments on that, Rich? Where are people coming from today? I'm looking right now.
They're literally from Europe, from Netherlands, from Arizona, right down the street to across the world.
Okay. I'm just looking right now, seeing everybody, your messages. I look at your messages after my talk, by the way. But anyway, I'm so happy that you all joined me here on Facebook. I'll be back next week at 10 o'clock my time to share with you some of the new ideas in my book.
And everybody should go to marsvenus.com.
Yeah, they should go to marsvenus.com. What I was hoping to talk about, people keep asking me about my protein shakes that I recommend. It's so important for women for hormonal balance as you get older, but even any stage, to amp up the protein in a form that your body can digest. When you're feeling hormonal imbalance, stress levels, you can't digest your proteins, and they're essential for making the dopamine and serotonin in your brain. And I just got messages from, one of my researchers that I work with, and he just said all this new research has come out talking about lithium orotate as the ultimate supplement to stop Alzheimer's and dementia and all those things. That's what he was saying. And of course, the best quality lithium orotate is at my website. It's the only product I still sell because nobody else does it the way we do it. And the way we do it is the actual process that Dr. Nieper did. A lot of people just mix orotate and lithium together. They don't go through the whole process, one. And two is they don't have the coexisting ingredients, ashwagandha, rhodiola, saffron. These are all adaptogens that will help lower her stress, along with allowing the lithium orotate to work better, along with magnesium orotate, along with calcium orotate. So it's a product that holds together. I've been promoting it for over, 30 years now, or 25 years, because it's so good. And now the research is coming out really backing it up. Before they say, oh, nobody should take lithium. Oh, it's bad for you. Oh, now they're seeing, 25 years later, I've been the major proponent of this. Other people sell lithium and they'll say, oh, it's 100 milligrams. They're talking about the actual orotic acid. But mine is the right balance for you. You don't want to take too much. You don't want to take not enough. So take 2 capsules a day. And immediately, if you notice ups and downs with your stress, it will help to make it smooth up and down. You don't want it to be like a desert. And the research is there now to protect the brain from Alzheimer's. And all this new research, which is showing that lithium has this amazing ability to do that. Lithium orotate, of all the other lithiums, the lithium orotate is the one that does it. So it's a big deal now. Everybody's talking about it, and we've known about it for 30 years. So, but now it's coming out there. It's so good. And what excited me in the beginning, because when I don't notice so much if my moods are very stable, I don't notice so much. But it was just knowing that you put it in a petri dish, it causes brain cells to grow. Nothing else does that. Just because you want your brain cells to grow, not shrink as you get older. So everybody, go to marsvenus.com, check out the super minerals. Go to the marsvenus.com/contact, or go to the bottom of the page where it says contact. Helena probably gives you that text. She's my assistant and does a great job at it. And you go to the contact and just say you want more information on the protein shakes, and we'll connect you up with Ellen, who can give you that information. You can order it right at my website. It will take you to Amazon, where you can purchase the super minerals. But there's another new product that I'm recommending that's really good, Harmonia, and it's fantastic to help balance your hormones at any stage for women. So I'm highly recommending it. It's just 3 herbs. It's not taking hormones. Anyway, those are some resources which are available to you. And now we've got these. I added another book, by the way, it just came out of me, to the 5 books for women only. There's another one of the books is for women only. I've forgotten the title of it right now. I'm so much in a different part of my brain. But it's new. I put it together by taking chapters out of this book. It created a whole nother book. So we can look forward to that one as well. I don't remember the name of that one. But anyway, it will come up. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Rich, thanks for joining me, keeping me on track here.
You're so welcome, John. And thanks, everybody, for attending. We'll see you all next week. These are great talks.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Great job, John.
Thank you. Thank you.